Hello and welcome to my Pre-Algebra review series. This video covers Chapter 7, Section 2, entitled Solving Multi-Step Equations. By the end of this video, you should have a better understanding of solving multi-step equations by combining like terms and using the distributive property. Please leave a like if you find this video to be helpful. Give your classmates a heads up too. It'll more than likely help them, and certainly it'll help this channel to be seen by more students. If you would like me to cover any of these topics in greater detail, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I read them and do my best to answer each as time permits. Please subscribe to my channel and ring the bell icon to be notified every time I release a new video. Thank you. Objective 1. Combining like terms. Consider the following equation and observe. So we start off with 2x and plus 7 plus x equals 16. Well, they want us to look at this and base it on what we remember from the previous section. So how does this equation differ from others you've seen? Well, the first thing I think we can say is that in this particular equation, we have two variable terms. In the previous ones, in section 1, we only had one variable term, but we had more than one constant term. So we group the common terms. The variable terms can be gathered as were constant terms. And then once you've done that, you're going to end up with a new variable term after the simplification. And they want us here now to write the new equation. So what is it? So we started off with 2x plus 7 plus x equals 16. Well, if we combine the variable terms, we're going to get 2x plus x is 3x. So as you see down here at the bottom, we have 3x. The plus 7 at this point is going to stay because we haven't done anything with it. They haven't asked us to move it yet. And the 16 remains the same. If we're going to solve this problem, we're going to eventually take the 3x, and we're going to add 7, that's the plus 7, and we're going to subtract 7 to undo the multiplication, and we're going to have 16, and we're going to have minus 7, undoing it. So now we're going to have 3x, the 7s are going to disappear, they cancel each other out, is equal to 16 minus 7, which is 9. Now we've got to undo the multiplication. We're going to divide or multiply by the reciprocal, or the multiplicative inverse, it's another way of saying it, of 3, the coefficient of the x variable. So we're going to say 1/3 times 3x is equal to 9 times 1/3, and that equals x equals 9 divided by 3 is 3. So that would be the solution to that problem. So now we have a little real rule problem to deal with here. We have Jake and Suki. They collect model airplanes. So now we're going to look at the quantity of airplanes and how much each one of them has. So it says here that Suki has 4 fewer than twice as many model airplanes as Jake. So as we read this, we realize Suki is where the math is being done. We're doing 4 fewer, twice as many. This type of information is being added on top of Jake's info, because it says twice as many airplanes as Jake has. So if we're going to let M equal Jake's number of airplanes, then we're going to have something like 2M minus 4 is equal to the number of airplanes that Suki has, because Suki has 4 less, that's the minus 4, then twice as many as Jake. So Jake has M, Suki has twice as many, 2M, but 4 less, minus 4. And then they say that they together have 14 airplanes. So what is the number that each person has? So we rewrite the equation to make sure that we've written it correctly. We look at it, make sure it's the same equation as we have up here, so we don't make a mistake just by copying. And then we solve the problem here. So here's Jake's number of airplanes. There's M. And here's Suki's number of airplanes, 2M minus 4. And the total is 14. Okay, so if we combine the like terms, we're going to have M plus 2M, which is 3M. And we're going to have still minus 4. So it's 3M minus 4 is equal to 14. We've combined the like terms. The only like terms are the M terms. So now we're going to undo the addition or subtraction. So we have 3M minus 4. So in order to get rid of the minus 4, we have to add 4. But we have to add 4 to both sides, because whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. So now when we simplify this, we're going to have 3M is equal to 18. 14 plus 4 is 18. Well, if you take and multiply both sides of this equation by the reciprocal of the coefficient of the variable, the coefficient of the variable is 3. The reciprocal of 3 is 1 over 3. Or it can be written as, or I have a little example here, 1/3 times 3 is the same, 1/3 times 3 is the same as 3 over 3. So here, 3 over 3 is what we have written is the same as this one, which means 1/3 times 3. And then on the other side, we do the same thing. 18 divided by 3, or times the reciprocal, which is, of course, as I said, 1/3. So when we simplify this, we're going to get M. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so we have 1M is equal to 18 divided by 3, which is 6. So the answer is M equals 6. That's what Jake has. So Jake has 6 model airplanes. So how many does Suki have? Well, since there were a total of 14 airplanes, Suki must have 2 times 6 minus 4. 2 times 6 is 12, minus 4 is 8. Suki has 8 model airplanes. So now we're going to check ourselves on these example 1 problems, and we're going to look at some basketball scores. One basketball team defeated another by 13 points. The total number of points scored by both teams was 171. Solve the equation P, which is the number of points one of the teams had, and P minus 13, the number of points the losing team had. I guess we'll think of it this way. And they equals 171 points. That was the total number of points scored between the two teams. So if we rewrite the equations, we're going to get P plus P minus 13 is equal to 171, right here, 171. P plus P minus 13. And if we put this together and start combining like terms, we're going to find out that we have a 2P, with P plus P is 2P, minus 13. And since we have minus 13, we have to undo the subtraction and add 13 this side, and at the same time we'll add 13 to this other side here. So we now have 2P, right here, 2P equals 184. And if we take and multiply the variable term by the reciprocal of its coefficient, so it's 2P, we're going to divide by 2 or multiply by 1/2, and 184 divided by 2. So you take 2 over 2P equals 1B, and 184 divided by 2 equals 92. So that would tell us that the winning team had 92 points, and the losing team had what? Had 92 minus 13 points, which equals to 79 points. Now, example 2 in this section, we're going to be finding consecutive integers. So what does that mean? It means we have some total value of, like, say, 120 or whatever the number might be, and we want 3 consecutive integers that when you add them all together, it gives you that number 120 or whatever the particular question is. So let's look at that. So when you count by ones from any integer, you are counting by consecutive integers. So that's it. If you start with x, and the next integer is x plus 1, and the next one is x plus 2. So that's counting by consecutive integers. We're adding 1 to each one. The same can be said by counting by 2s or 3s or 10s or whatever you can say. 3 consecutive even integers. So it could be n, n plus 2, n plus 4, kind of a thing. So here we have it. So let's make the equation out of these. We're going to have x plus 1 plus x plus 2. That's right here. That's this equation right here we're going to look at. And we're going to find out that according to the question of above, it's just looking at the example, we're going to find 3 consecutive integers that equals 96 and show what those integers are. So we're writing down the equation, like I said, x plus 1, x plus 2. And then, and I usually always do this, is rewrite the equation, make sure I'm working from the same place. Then we start collecting like terms. And collecting like terms would be x plus x, here, x plus x plus x. These are all added. There's no multiplication in here anywhere. So that ends up being 3x's. And the 1 plus the 2 is equal to 3. So 3x plus 3 equals 96. Well, in order to get the variable on the one side by itself, we have to undo the addition of this plus 3. And we do that by subtracting 3. But when we subtract a 3, we do it from both sides. So now we have remaining, we have 3x equals 93 because we got rid of the 3's on the one side and we were left with 3x. And on this side, we were left with 96 minus 3, which is 93. So again, we have the coefficient of the x term is 3. We're going to multiply by its multiplicative inverse or its reciprocal. So 3 over 3 is 1 times x is equal to 93 over 3. And when we simplify that out, we're going to get x equals 31. So the 3 consecutive integers are 31, right here, 31, 32, and 33. If you add these 3 consecutive integers, you'll get 93 and 96, I guess it is. 96. Oh, here it is right here, 96. Couldn't find it. So you get 96. 30, 30, 30 is 90. 1, 2, and 3 makes 6. Okay, for example 2, let's check our understanding. Find the equations and solve here. So we have 4 consecutive integers with the sum of 358. So what does that look like? 4 consecutive integers with the sum of 358. So we're going to start with an x, and we're going to add x plus 1, there's the second integer, plus x plus 2, there's the third integer, plus x plus 3, there's the third integer, and this all equals 300, or the fourth integer, 358. Okay, so now what we're going to do is there's no multiplication anywhere in here, so it's just all adding or subtracting or whatever. Pretty simple stuff. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. So we have 4x plus the numbers. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6, plus 6, and this all equals 358. Now we have this. We say, well, we have to undo the addition. And how do you do that? So 4x plus 6 minus 6 is equal to 358 minus 6. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So on both sides, we're subtracting 6 out of both sides. So now what's left is we have 4x, and the 6's cancel each other, and that equals 358 minus 6. So 4x is equal to 352, and we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the coefficient of the variable. So 1/4 times 4x is equal to 352 divided by 4, and that equals 88. So x equals 88. So if you take 88, 89, 88 plus 89 plus 90 plus 91 and add them together, you'll get 358. For consecutive even integers, the first is n and the second is n plus 2. So before we added 1, we did n plus 1, here's n plus 1, and these we're doing n plus 2. Find two even consecutive integers with a sum of 66. So how would we write that out? We'd say x is our first one, and we're going to add, it's the second integer, or it's x plus 2. And those two numbers equal the 66. So we combine the like terms. We have 2x plus 2 equals 66. And now we're going to undo the math, which is a positive, or we're adding 2. We're going to have to subtract 2. 2x plus 2 minus 2 equals 66 minus 2. We have to subtract the 2 from both sides. We end up with 2x equals 66 minus 2. 2x equals 64. And therefore, if 2x equals 64, 1x, x divided, so we're going to divide both sides by 2. We're going to say 1/2 of 2x is equal to 64 divided by 2. So x, these 2's cancel. X equals 32. Right here. Okay? Using the distributive property. Sometimes you may need to use the distributive property when solving multi-step equations. The distributive property is defined as, kind of look at this. So here we have two terms that are being added together, and these terms are multiples of a factor A and a factor B. So like 6 would be 2 times 3. So this could be 6, and A could be 2, and B could be 3. But this term would equal 6. And if this term equaled some other number, 8, you'd find out that A would be one number and C would be a different number now, okay? But they'd equal different numbers, but when you could add them together. So in this case, since these are both multiple factors, A, B, and AC of numbers, constant numbers here, we can pull out the A. It's the same in both. So if we had AB plus AC, we can rewrite that as A times the B plus the C. Because we can multiply, this A is multiplied by the B, and this A is multiplied by the C. So here it is here. A is multiplied by the B, A is multiplied by the C. And we can go the other way too. If we had that, we can do equals. We can multiply through. We can say A times B is equal to AB plus A times C is equal to AC. So that's kind of how the distributive law works. Let's do an example. Let's say we had, we're going to do this. We're going to say 8 plus 6 is equal to, and we don't really care what it equals to, but we're going to do the other one. It's also equal to what? It's equal to 2 times 4 plus 2 times 3. Right, so this is the 6, and here's the 8. So it's 2 times 4 plus 2 times 3. Okay, so what does that equal to? That equals to, well, we can, according to the distributive property, we can remove the 2 since it's common on both of them. So we can remove the 2. We can say 2 times the other factor here is 4 plus, remove the 2, and we have a 3 plus 3. Okay, so we're saying 2 times 4 plus 2 times 3 is equal to 2 times 4 plus 3. Well, let's try it. It's going to be kind of obvious. So 8 and 6 is 14. So let's see if these others equal the same thing. 2 plus 4 is 8. 2 plus 2 times 4 is 8 plus 2 times 3 is 6. It's the same as before. Again, it's 14. Let's go to this next one right here. It's 2 times 2 times 4 plus 3. So 2 times 4 plus 3 is how much? 7. And 2 times 7 is equal to 14. So everything adds out. So this proves it to yourself that you can factor out a factor if it's a common factor. And this is called the distributive law, distributive property. Okay, so here we have in example 3, a couple problems showing how to use the distributive property. In A, we have 2 times the quantity, 5x minus 3 is equal to 14. Well, what's going to concern us about this distributive property here at this point are the 2 and the 5 and then minus 3. Those are the ones that we're going to be dealing with. The x isn't going to change, except for the coefficient of x will change. And when we multiply this out, because we can't really move these terms by adding and subtracting. We want to do the adding and subtracting because we have like terms to add and subtract from each other. So we're going to get 2 times 5 is 10x, and then minus 3 times 2 is minus 6, and that equals 14. So next step would be to combine like terms and move them around, okay? So we're going to have 10x minus 6, and we want to add 6 to get rid of the minus 6 to both sides. So we'll have 10x minus 6 plus 6 equals 14 plus 6. And when we take it and we simplify that, we're going to have 10x is equal to 20. 14 plus 6 is 20, and 10x is remaining on this side after you cancel out the two 6's. Okay? Then we're going to multiply by the multiplicative inverse of 10, the coefficient of the variable. And we're going to do that to both sides of the equation. We have to do that same thing on both sides of the equation. And when we do that, we're going to get the 10's cancel, and we're left with a 1x. Here it is, 1x. And 20 divided by 10, or 20 times 1/10, is equal to 2. So the answer here is x equals 2. On the other side here, in problem B, we have 38 is equal to minus 3 plus 4y plus 2 plus y. So they added a little extra kicker in here. They put that y in. It's not going to cause us any problems. We're just going to add it and subtract it as we go along. So we're going to have minus 3 times 4. These two are going to multiply. We're going to get minus 12. And minus 3 times 2, and we're going to get minus 6. The y stays with the 12. Okay, now we can combine the y's because the y is here. We had a y here. They're adding and subtracting. So we can say 38 is equal to minus 12 plus y. But just from over here, we moved it over to this, moved it from here to here, minus 6. Minus 6. When we do that, we can combine the like terms, which we can combine the y terms. So we get 38 is equal to minus 11. Minus 12 plus 1 is minus 11y minus 6. Okay, so now we got to get rid of the 6. We got to get the 6 on the side with the constants and leave the variables on the side by themselves, one side by themselves. So we have the variables on the right this time, and the constants are going to be on the left. No problem. We're going to get rid of the minus 6, we have to add in a plus 6. Okay, so we have to undo it. So adding a plus 6 to one side and a plus 6 to this side, we'll cancel these 6's out, and 38 plus 6 will equal to 44 when you add the two together. So 44 is equal to minus 11y, and now we have to clear the y of the minus 11. We're going to get rid of the minus and the 11 all at the same time. So we're going to multiply by the multiplicative inverse of minus 11, which happens to be 1 over minus 11. And we're going to multiply both sides by that, or we can say divide both sides by that. So now both sides are divided by minus 11. So 44 divided by minus 11 is equal to minus 4. 44 divided by 11 is 4, and a positive divided by a negative is negative. And then the y, the minus 11 over the minus 11 cancels, and you end up left with just a positive y. So minus 4 is equal to y. Okay, for example 3, under check your understanding, we're going to look at a few more of these distributive property problems. So the first one here, A, is minus 3 times m minus 3 times minus 6. So we have minus 3m minus minus is a positive 18. And that all equals 4. So now, in order to solve this, we're going to combine like terms, move terms around, undo math, as we've been doing all along. So we're going to have minus 3m plus 18 minus 18, because we need to move it to the other side, is equal to 4 minus 18. Okay, so now when we do that, the 18s are going to cancel, and we're going to have minus 3m equals 4 minus 18 is minus 14. So now we have to get rid of the coefficient of the m variable, because the m variable's coefficient has to be 1. In order to do that, we're going to multiply both sides by negative 1/3 times minus 3m. I'm getting rid of the the minus and the 3 all at the same time, is equal to minus 14 times minus 1/3. We did the same thing to both sides. So now on this side we have m, because minus 3 and the minus 1/3 cancel each other, makes positive 1. And minus 14 divided by minus 3 is going to be positive, some number positive. And instead of leaving it a fraction, we can say that it's going to be 14/3. Or I guess we could say 3 goes into 14 4 times. And there's 2 remainders, so it's going to be 2/3. 4 and 2/3. Going to be the answer on this one. Let's look at this problem here, B. We have 3 times x plus 3 times 12 is 36. Minus x, we have a little extra x like we did before in that other problem, equals 8. So we have 3x. Now we're going to get rid of this negative x here. Minus x plus 36 is equal to 8. They're going to add together. We're going to have 2x, because 3x minus 1x is 2x. And we're going to have plus 36 equals to 8. So now we have to undo the mathematics. We have to undo the positive 36 on this side and get it to the other side. So that we're going to have 2x plus 36 minus 36 is equal to 8 minus 36. We subtracted 36 from both sides. So now we're left with the 2x. The 36 is canceled. And now that equals 8 minus 36. Well, minus 36 is going to be minus 28. So minus 28. 8 minus 36 is minus 28. So now we have to undo the division and multiplication to get the x by itself. So we'll multiply by 1/2 times 2x, the multiplicative inverse, or the reciprocal, is equal to minus 28 times 1/2. So that is, now these cancel. So we have x equals 28 minus 28 divided by 2 is minus 14. There's your answer here. And the key concepts that they show down here for solving multi-step equations. First, take care of the distributive property if necessary. If things are handled like they are up here with like minus 3 times m minus 6, then remove that first by multiplying through and getting like terms. Combine the like terms. Combine them all up, then undo the addition subtraction like we did here. We moved the 18 to both, minus 18 on this side and this side. Undo the addition subtraction, and then undo the multiplication or division. In this case, we're going to undo the multiplication, which is we're going to take care of that by dividing by 3, or in this case. We did that, and we got rid of the negative sign at the same time by multiplying by the reciprocal, the negative reciprocal. That got rid of the negative sign, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So that's how we take care of that. That's what you do in these cases. Okay, solve the equations and find the integers. Okay. Or find integers. So in the first equation, we've got 36. Let's do this. So 36 is equal to y. I'm going to write the equation y minus 5y minus 12. Okay, now I'm going to combine these. I'm going to say 36 is equal to y minus 5y is minus 4y minus 12. Now we're going to get rid of the addition and subtraction that's required here. So in order to do that, we're going to add 12 to both sides. So 36 plus 12 is equal to minus 4y minus 12 plus 12. So doing this, we eliminate the 12s, and we had to have a minus 4y on this side, and that equals to 36 plus 12 is 48. So now 48 equals minus 4y. So we're going to get rid of the minus 4. So in order to do that, we're going to take and multiply both sides. We're going to say minus the reciprocal. So it's minus 1/4 times 48 is equal to minus 4y times minus 1/4. I'm carrying that minus all the time in here. So the minus 1/4, the minus 1/4. So if you resolve this, this is going to be negative 12. Negative 12 is equal to, the 4 cancel, the 4's cancel, the negative signs cancel, is equal to y. So y is equal to negative 12. Here, now we're going to find the integers. The sum of two consecutive integers is 131. Find the integers. Okay, so one integer is going to be x. We don't know what it is, but it's going to be x. And the other one, it's two integers we're looking for, and they're consecutive integers. And we learned before that consecutive means plus 1. So plus x, the number we started with, plus 1, equals 131. 131 from right here. So that's what we have this. So x, there's no multiplication here, it's all addition. So x plus x is 2x plus 1 is equal to 131. Now we have to undo the addition. So we have 2x plus 1 minus 1 is equal to 131 minus 1. So the 1's will disappear. So we have 2x is equal to 130. And now we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 2, which is 1/2. It's positive, so it's positive 1/2 times 2x is equal to 130 times 1/2 times 1/2. So the 2's over here cancel. So we're left with x is equal to 130 divided by 2, and that equals, so 50 and 15 is 65. X equals 65. Okay? Now a few more. We're going to solve the equations or find the integer. This time we're solving an equation. This is a distributive property multi-step equation like we've had already. So we're going to look at this. We're going to rewrite it, and I'm going to take out the multiplication right away. So I'm going to have m plus 4 times 2m is 8m minus 3 times 4 is 12 minus 12 is equal to minus 3. So we're going to undo the addition. So we have 1m and 8m's, 9m's minus 12 equals minus 3. Okay, so now what do? We have the m here. We're going to get rid of the subtraction. We have to undo the addition. We're still undoing addition. So 9m minus 12 plus 12 is equal to minus 3 plus 12. We added 12 to both sides to compensate for this negative 12. So now we have 9m The 12's cancel is equal to minus 3 plus 12 is equal to 9. 12 minus 3 is 9. So m is equal to m 1/9 times 9m, sorry for skipping that, is equal to 1/9 times 9. And 1/9 times 9 is the same as 9 divided by 9, and we know that that equals 1. So this here equals, these cancel, and you're left with a 1. And here these cancel, and you're left with the 1. So m, oops, can't even write, m is equal to 1. Right there. This one, 1/3. This is interesting because now we have two sets of braces or brackets or containing symbols. Okay, so we have brackets on the outside here, and inside the brackets we have parentheses. And you remember from PEMDAS, PEMDAS, you have to do all of the parentheses, if you will, first. And you have to go to the most inner one. The most inner one happens to be this one right here. This is the most inner, because these parentheses are inside of these brackets. So you have to resolve this before you can do any of this. You can't take care of this distributive property until you do this. Okay? Well, if we look into here, we see that x minus 8, well, we can't do anything with that because you can't add a constant and a variable together. So in this case, these parentheses literally are just for the sake of distributive property. So if I rewrite it, we're going to have 1/3 bracket 2 times x is 2x minus 2 times 8 is minus 16. And I'm going to close the bracket. No, not yet. And then plus 1. Plus 1. Now I can close the bracket over here. So the 1, and it's equal to 19. So everything now is in here is taken care of. I took care of the distributive property in here, right, with these here. And I added the 1 also inside the bracket. So now that I've got that taken care of, I have to take care of what's inside here. Well, the only thing I can do inside here is I have a minus 16 plus a 1. I can handle that. So I have 1/3 bracket 2x minus 16 plus 1 is minus 15. Close the bracket is equal to 19. So now what do I have to do next? Well, I have to do what's inside the bracket, but I can't, there's nothing more I can do inside here. I can't take it out because it's multiplied by this. So that means I have to do the multiplication and division. I have to undo this multiplication and division to get rid of this. Well, this is just like more distributive property. This is a number, a constant in this case, times a variable minus a constant. Just like this, 2 times the quantity x minus 8. This is 1/3 times the quantity 2x minus 15. It's the same thing. It just looks different, but it's the same principle. So in order to solve this, we're going to multiply this through. So it's 2x over 3, this 2/3, right? Minus 15 over 3. So now these are taken care of, the brackets are gone, and that equals 19. So now we have 2/3 x, 2/3 x minus 5 is equal to 19, because I have a negative sign here, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So 2/3 x minus 5 plus 5 is equal to 19 plus 5, because I added 5 to both sides. So 2/3 x is equal to 19 plus 5 is 21. Is equal to 21. No, excuse me, not 21. 19 and 5 is 24. Sorry. 24. So now we're going to multiply this through. We're going to multiply by the inverse, the multiplicative inverse, or the reciprocal? Well, the reciprocal is 3 halves. We just turned it upside down, put the 3 on the top and the 2 on the bottom. The reciprocal of 2/3 is 3 halves. Just flip it over. Times x, times 2/3 x equals 24 times 3 halves. Well, when you do that, these cancel, because 6 divided by 6 is 1. So x is equal to 24 divided by 2, which is 12 times 3 is 36. So I'll write it up here so it's easier. X is equal to 36. Okay?